Hello and welcome to another episode of the program Patriot. My name is Cynthia Agbo. Of course, you know what Patriot is all about. It's all about being patriotic. And today we're talking about development in the grassroots and, of course, delving into representation at the local level before and now. And I have someone who will be talking to us about all of this, talking about town planner Abubakar Sadiq Ahmed, who is also an aspirant House of Representative Abuja South Federal Constituency. Glad to have you on the show.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Good evening.
Okay. You're all smiles like you know what we're talking about already. Okay. All right. So let's just go straight to what we have to talk about. You are a town planner. So I would like to ask, what is it like as a town planner?
Okay. Town planner, precisely, it's a professional course that deals with the settings, arrangements of how development are supposed to be, as to where an activity is supposed to be, where to live, where to recreate, and where to actually have to work. And the pattern at which it is doable, it's actually the planning responsibility to assign density of users where particular users are supposed to be. In general, this is what the town planner does.
Okay, so having known that, let's look at the Abuja setting, because of course that is your primary area. So let's look at the Abuja setting. Would you say that the planning of the Abuja is properly done to fit in all levels?
You see, actually, the time planning was born out of necessity is the mother of invention. And whenever there is a necessitated action that needs to be taken, then planning sets in. The Abuja we're talking about started basically, if you can check out the land use degree, when the movement of Lagos capital to Abuja, yeah, that's where the federal capital idea comes in. And when it came, it has a backup master plan to define what uses are supposed to be where. But in addition, there's an interest of something that has been overlooked or maybe it became a salient factor. That's that aspect of Abuja Metropolitan Management Plan. Because in the FCT, there's an FCC. The FCC is the Federal Capital City, which is the involvement of the envelope of this. The Abuja itself has a landmass of about 8,000 kilometers square, but the FCC tends to be the center of attraction, where choke of activities, that's the Maitama,
Jasokoro, the Wuse.
Yeah, the place that attracts, it becomes like center of attraction. But in isolation of the other areas that have formed the larger part of FCT, that's the area council, we're coming from Buhari, Kuje, Abaji, Gwagwalada, Kwali, and to be precise, and if you want to have an effective federal capital city, you have to checkmate what is the provisions of this Abuja Metropolitan Management Plan as it complements the effort of the FCC.
All right. Speaking of, before we go into your aspiration as a House of Reps, now, speaking as a town planner, would you say that during the planning of the federal capital city, they envisaged a high population? Because right now, it is looking like they didn't plan that, they didn't have that in mind when they were, because of course, when it moved to Abuja, talking about the seat of power, of course, you know, one thing that associates things like that is trooping of people for business or other purposes. So did they envisage that at a time Abuja will be full?
Whether it's envisaged or not, I personally know that with my little knowledge about human being and attractions to their search for white collar job, people tend to move because where is attracted to them. So FCC today has a overstretch of facilities as a result of people that are not contented with where they are, because if the provisions I've said in the Metropolitan Management Plan are taken care of, today we'll not be discussing of Why do people have to leave from Kefi to come and work
Work in
in Abuja?
Abuja.
Why do people have to leave Gwagwalada to
To
come
work in
into
Abuja.
Abuja? Thereby altering the transportation system that was originally meant in the master plan, because Abuja was supposed to be serviced through the head of the light rail, which is the train stations at which you can walk outside Abuja and still come to Abuja to live, thereby making life itself comfortable at your zones. But people tend to have the envisagement or the future such of what people think about what was provided and what they have at present had made it look, okay, we have to come to Abuja first to
Okay.
get it. So the issue of population has come as a result of lack of facilities and infrastructures at other suburbs.
All right. All right. So let's talk about town planner, relating it to your aspiration. Of course, you know, we thought that you're aspiring for something. So decision born out of, is it service to people? Did you just see the humanity and you're like, I want to serve my people? So what is the town planning relating to your aspiration?
Collectively, I've always said you don't give what you don't have. You only know that, okay, planning it's all about legislations. And legislations are things that you need to put up and put an argument, then get a backup, make it a bill, and for people to get support and see idea in this. And you can't do that from a background or professional point of view. You need to be part of the lawmaker where you can, okay, this is what I know about
No,
this
the
thing.
people.
Okay, let's put it. And humanity comes because when you check out at the problem that had the resultants of people tripling to Abuja, you will know that it came with lots of social vices, and aside social vices, it came in incapacitating the already existing facility that was meant to serve the population within Abuja. I don't have the exact figure, but I knew the Abuja population sites earmarked for the FCC has been tripled so far.
Exactly true.
So if you don't come in legislations, how do you do it? But as it relates to humanity, definitely when you come into the field of politics, you have to come with a different idea as to what you think it's supposed to be, as to oppose the system that it's more of a promise without fulfillment.
Okay. All right. So let's do. We've had several people in the past come out to say, "I want to do this. I want to represent my people. This is born just the same lines you're giving to me right now. This is born out of service for my people. You cannot give what you don't have, like you just said. So how are the people supposed to believe in some of this things? Because of course we know we've had people who come and disappointed, say things that are not, that we can't find them in realistic times. So what is that proof that, oh, Abubakar Sadiq Ahmed is going to really do these things that he has said, and this interest is really there for the people?
Generally, everybody has to have a principle to why he's existing, but I think the best of mankind is he who benefits mankind. Generally, in life, I've always prayed that whatever that is going to come to my hands is not going to be useful to the common man, may God not give me. As to that is my motivating point, and that is the reason why I start from that point of view. I have never promised anybody. I've always come with programs that looks like variable. This is what we're supposed to do. And the least I want to do, it's a normal way of having to buy over delegates and people that are representative in order to buy your idea. My idea is actually a living proof. This is what I want to do. And if people can come in, I am not waiting for an opportunity to have. With the little I have from my lively investment, I used it to do the little program in showcasing. Even if we go, we'll do more because this is from our own pocket. When there's a constituency allowances where there are.
You talked about your ideas. Do you think that your ideas is big enough to make the people want you there?
Whether ideas are big enough, consistency, you gradually will sell your idea. One day people will come to realize it, because I started this contest as a chairman, though I lost. But after I lost the elections, they tend to realize that, okay, what he has always said, that it's true, because I didn't cease, I knew my people problem. The
Okay.
peasant farmers, they have issues that has to do with educational revolution that I have been preaching right from time, because if you don't get to have educational revolution in FCT, then a native will come to us time that a native will not be recognized, just like the Red Indians have been wiped out of American
True.
countries, like the Aborigines have been wiped out of Australia. So it has never been. It's only educational backbone that can get us standing on our feet like I am today, trying to do something differently from what has been done.
We're supposed to go on a break at this point, but I want to ask you one quick question before we go on that break. Now, looking at the party, it's you're coming under. It's quite looking at what's been happening. A lot of people have been complaining. Most of course, looking at our president. Some people have said he has not really served the things that he said he was going to do. He has not really done some of those things. And then you are coming under this party. Don't you think it's going to affect your candidature for that position?
Not really, because I am not. If the government is just 3 years into, if the government is just 3 years and Nigerian, this phase of democracy, it's almost 19 years.
With 3 years, a whole lot of things have
No,
happened in 3 years, but
like
negative and
no,
positive.
no. Let's analyze it.
Okay.
If we have gotten married for 16 or 19 years, and you analyze the last part of the 3 years, and you think you're not being fair, this government took over a very incapacitated economy, an economy, a system that was so actually facing security challenges. Even as people will not get satisfied to what has been done at the present. But in analysis, the cardinal points of the economy as when the government or the government was transiting of the track, we're saying there was no possibility of the government coming to even sustain. Why some even people think that was the reason why they were relaxed about the continuation, because there was no livelihood to the continuation of the project Nigeria. But when people are analyzing on the negativity, they pick on, okay, the president hasn't done enough. But I've always said it's a governments and governance is a trickle down effect. As you want to hit on the one you don't know, there are councillors that you know close to you, there are chairmen that you know, there are House of Assembly that you know, there are House of Representatives. Have any of them told you that their benefits of what they're supposed to do on constituency, on units progress have not been done to them? In analysis, people get preemptive in doing the analysis. How preemptive? If my councillor cannot take care of my ward, then why should you be complaining of someone who is doing a bigger Nigerian project?
Now, you mentioned 16 and 3 years. I want to ask you another dicey question, rather. Would you compare the 16 years in your words? They have done almost, they've incapacitated the Nigerian people. Now, will you compare the incapacitation of 16 years and that of 3 years? Which one to you do you think is worse? Now, let's not talk about the numbers. Let's talk about the gravity.
Yeah, if we're talking about the gravity, to be honest, I still would think, and I will go with my party in a very conclusive manner. Mind you, I'm not ignorant of the fact that the petroleum per barrel cost has dropped drastically from the market. People don't
I
even do
like the honesty.
such magnitude. People always compare what is supposed to be done. I am not also forgetting the fact that we've inherited a budget that has always been passed. Contracts and projects have already been paid 100% without being done. All these are not being analyzed.
You're bringing in the budget. Do you want us to delve into the budget aspect right now?
Not at all. I'm
All
actually
right.
trying to have an overview
Okay.
of what we're trying to talk.
All right.
Because if we're talking about development, we talk about the funding as well, because development comes with the funding. And
Okay.
if the funding is ahead of what development, then we know that there's an issue also to analyze. When you said, okay, the road to Lokoja from Abuja, Lokoja road has been taken care of and it has been paid up to 70 and 80%, and the road is not done 20%. That is actually a debt to the government that is being inherited.
Okay.
So whatever this kind of analysis are, the analysis, the true analyst should sit down and basically make people understand, because people have actually got something additional to the reality of life, sentiments in analysis. And I've always said, as a position of director of conflict resolution, is the most sensitive of analysis. Because interfaiths actually coming in a way to be like, okay, the godly part, but they have come in their way with a negative way that we are already campaigning against such. Because if development hits everywhere, there's no need for any violence. It's lack of development that gets a resultant part of the violence that we always analyzing.
You mentioned two very, very vital issues: the budget and the violent part. But anyway, time will not permit us to talk about that. I'm sure you don't want to delve into that. All right, so at this point, we'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll just talk about some little projects that I'm aware that you've been carrying out to your people. A very short break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. The program is still The Patriot right here on Television Nigeria. And my name is Cynthia Agwen. Of course, we're still talking about development in the grassroots and, of course, representation at the local level before and now. And I still have Town Planner Abubakar Sadiq Ahmed, who is also an aspirant House of Representative, Abuja South Federal Constituency. I hope we're not getting heated right now.
Not at all.
Okay. All right, so let's just take us through the school fees program. I'm aware that you have the school fees program, that you did something for orphans in the FCT. Let's get to know about that.
Yeah, actually, before the school fees, I'm of the idea that the vulnerable people in the society, the less privileged, the orphans, are the reason that necessitated the need for governance and government entirety. If everybody was well-to-do, then nobody would have been governing anybody. And I think part of the security challenge we have, and we're actually ignoring some parts of the most sensitive, vulnerable people. And today, because they don't feel love for many years, they feel their life is not worth everything. My programs actually start from supporting the less privileged in public schools before now, because public school actually are not viewed as art fashion design. Nobody wants to go to public school, and nobody wants to put his kids in the public school. I'm of the opinion that I'm coming with a paper that if I get to a position, I would say, wherever you're a public figure, you make sure that your child is in the same public school, because it constitutes like 70 to 75% general population of Nigeria.
Okay.
But because your child is not in the school, you don't even know how the system is run, you don't know the monitoring of the system. And if you go, the talking that it's meant to be taking care of them, you find intelligent, wonderful, and good kids and dropping out of those schools because they can offer 1,000 naira, 2,000 naira,
So
even
fees.
500 talking for school fees. And yet you see a system where someone get comfortable paying millions of naira for the kids. Don't forget that the same persons that cannot pay 1,000 naira, 2,000 naira tomorrow are going to constitute the problem you're going to inherit. That your one that went to go and gets 1 million will not be able to live freely, and you yourself that is taking. So I tend to give a feedback. What they do, like feedback, it's in larger society or advanced nation. If you don't want to wait for government, if you have benefited, no matter how small, you relate back or get back to the society which you belong. So we started by donating items, book materials, checks, providing training to equip the teachers at the public school first, and sometimes around September last year. Then we, in order to continue, to have a continuity to programs that have life and touching lives as well, we empowered women that are leading, the women leaders in our community that are amounted like 50, get them trained on local craft.
Skill acquisition.
Yeah, skill acquisitions in order to make them self-reliant and actually, as the family units leaders that they are, to have a starting point and give them some capitals to start, because they're petty business, but yet if there's no that petty business, you know, they are definitely not capacitated. So as well, after that, we tend to see that peace is threatening. So we organize a program, bring some scholars to come and lecture, and some political leaders are doing a little bit well. That development is the only alternative to political thuggery and violence. In such program, it was called upon people that were actually at that corridor of operating as as nuisance, so people that are already carried as hired, what they call them, thugs. We call them upon and lecture them on the need to wait for development. Then after which, today, what we embark on, it's actually the exam section is coming, and we were meant to understand in my constituency, the Abuja South, that lots of kids are going to be dropped out because of the exams. And it's when I was told the amount, it was shocking enough that I need to organize the leaders through that forum to see that, okay, let's take care of the bill. The bill isn't too bogus, neither is it too small, but if you take that, the number, but
it's fair enough.
It was doable, and again, at the end of the day, you see the smile in the faces of the persons that have there were benefits of this. After all, there are people that are with the society; they are no longer with their parents.
Let's just look at it. It's a very good venture. It's a very good thing. Service to humanity generally, it's a beautiful thing. But looking at the pre-election year, and of course, knowing that you're going for something, don't you think people might just have a way of reasoning and saying, okay, he's doing this because he's going for something? I'm sure you might have heard that question, or you might have heard that somehow.
Yeah, but anyway, if this is how we relate in our own pre-election year, everybody should come and queue in. Let's do the same, because the resultant, who is going to benefit at the end? The common man. But if you're keeping your resources and waiting until when the primaries come, you buy over delegates, then you're not trying. Come and do it, because this is not going to people that are even going to be able to do elections. So if you're thinking it's because of election, I should be targeting the age that are going to do the election. So if you benefit, you have a way of paying me back.
Okay.
So we're trying to institutionalize a system where there will be sanity to humanity, and following that update of how to really get to the people that are really important in the society. And those people are the most vulnerable people. So if people are thinking it's political, yes, political, then cue in my own way of politicking. Then we touch lives in our politicking.
I must say thank you so much for coming on the show. I don't have a whole lot of things to talk about, but time will not permit us. We just have to say a very big thank you for coming. And as you're talking about town planner Abubakar Sadiq Ahmed, who is also an aspirant House of Representatives over Abuja South Federal Constituency. The program is The Patriot, right here on television Nigeria. My name is Cynthia Agbo, and everything you do, don't forget that life is very sweet and very good. Don't waste it. Have yourself a wonderful time.
Thank you.